Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. To find out about the programming we have available for you 24/7, 365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. And for the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV, visit www.simultv.com. Exonation, my guest this hour is Dr. Kristy Sumner. And Kristy is the founder of Soul Sisters Paranormal, a team she formed with her twin younger sister and two friends in 2015. A native of Ocala, Florida, Kristy has a background in criminal justice, specifically aviation security, and holds a Ph.D. in public affairs with an emphasis in criminal justice from the University of Central Florida. As a Soul Sister Paranormal investigator, Kristy is most proud of the fact that her team has been invited to be the home paranormal investigation team for the Ma Barker House in Ocklawaha. How do you say that, Kristy?
It's Ocklawaha, Florida.
That's a good Irish name, isn't it? Okay. A location that has historical significance as being in the States, the site of the longest FBI shootout in history. Now, Kristy and the Soul Sisters Paranormal team is adamant that any investigation showcases the historical significance along with any paranormal evidence that may be present. Exonation, their website is www.soulsistersparanormal.com. And Kristy, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Where did your interest in the paranormal come from?
Well, we've always had an interest in the paranormal. My sisters and I, we'd watch some of the television shows, when TAPS got started, we would watch some of those. And we would say to ourselves, is there anything that we could do different? Could we have asked these questions different? Or what evidence would we have gotten if we went into that location? And we were fortunate enough to have a family friend who sits on the board of the Moundsville Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. And coincidentally, our grandpa used to be a guard at the Moundsville Penitentiary there in Moundsville. So we had the opportunity to go and investigate in 2014, and we were fascinated and we were just hooked. So we decided to formally form Soul Sisters Paranormal in 2015.
Let me ask you, what's it like to investigate with your sisters?
It's fantastic. My sisters are my best friends, and we work very well together. And so going into these locations, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and we really play on those. And so, for example, if one of us is having an off night with regard to getting activity, the next one will step in. And it's just fun to actually go with them to these historical locations and have almost like a sister bonding over something that we all enjoy. So it's great fun, and we really enjoy it.
Now, how many sisters are there?
There's three of us are sisters on the team, and then we brought in 2 friends. So there's 5 total on the team, but 3 of us are actual family.
I understand that you're an all-female team.
We are. We're an all-female team, hence the name Soul Sisters Paranormal. Right. We have taken a male guest on a couple of our investigations, but mostly we try to stick with female guests if we can, or we collaborate with female investigators. And we do that for a variety of reasons. The first one being that, if we go into these locations and we pick up a male voice or a child's voice, we can rule out very quickly that it's not one of us. And then we also have, we think that females have a different type of empathy with regard to the paranormal. We really don't go in with a lot of bravado, and we don't, we don't go in and really try to anger or conjure up anything. We actually want to go and hear the stories, if we can, from any entities that may be present.
So when you bring a male visiting investigator, does the name change from Soul Sisters Paranormal to Soul Sisters and Brother Paranormal?
No, so we haven't done that yet, but, I'll take that under advisement. We can make new business cards.
There you go. Do each one of you, well, first of all, let me congratulate you on the way that you think and how you approach a paranormal investigation. I find this very refreshing, number one.
Well, thank you.
Number 2, do each one of you have a specific chore or a specific talent when it comes to doing an investigation?
We do, and it can change depending on where we're at, or what the night is holding for us.
Right.
I will actually be the one that will research the location, kind of get the history and the background, and then we will discuss it as a team, and then decide what equipment that we need to deploy, when we're going to, or how we're going to deploy it, specific locations within the site. What trigger items. So, for example, my twin, Jenny, she's very good about creatively thinking about different trigger items that may be outside of the norm, if you will, that other paranormal groups are using. And so we like to switch it up with regard to those things. And then the questions that we ask, we try to base it on the history that we have garnered in our research. So all of us kind of play that role. But and then we all, we do listen to the evidence together, and we before we publish any of our evidence, we all come up to a consensus of what we think we see or hear. And we make sure we account for any outside noise or any environmental interference that may be there.
So you do a bench test reading and a baseline reading before you actually do the investigation, which is something a lot of paranormal teams do not do.
We try to, yes, sir. Yeah. We, all of us have advanced degrees, and so we come at it with a very research focus, if you will. Obviously, we're looking for paranormal, but we try to make it as researched as possible. And when we go to these locations, we do take baseline readings. Yeah. We try to account for any outside noise pollution, any outside light pollution. When we go and we're in different locations within the site, All of us have body cameras on, and they're all time stamped. So when we go back and review the evidence, if we catch something, we always go back and cross-reference where everybody is time-wise to make sure nobody is impacting what we think we found.
I can really tell that your law enforcement training has really kicked in here.
Yes, sir. We try to bring that in. Both my twin and I, we do have our background in criminal justice. We have a master's in criminal justice with our Ph.D.s in public affairs with an emphasis on criminal justice. So we do try to use that kind of like an investigative criminal justice investigative mindset. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've had many people on the show who call themselves paranormal investigators, and to be honest with you, it surprises me that they can investigate the bottom of their foot to find their shoe to tie it. And I'm being very polite there because you are a lady.
Well, I'm certainly not going to disparage anybody else in the community, that's for sure. But what we think our strength is that we do come at it with that mindset of
professionalism.
Yes, sir.
Listen, before we go to our commercial break, I have to ask you this, and I love asking this to twins. Is there such a thing as a twin thing?
There is. There is such a thing as a twin thing, and my sister and I have it very strongly. We can really just kind of look at each other and know exactly what we're thinking. There was an instance where, I was in a car accident, and Jenny was already getting ready to come and find me before she even got the phone call. So we do have a lot of that twin interaction, if you will. So it's a very unique experience, and it's something that we can't really explain, but it is there. Yes.
Talk about something being paranormal, eh? Wow.
Right. We have two facets.
Yes, you do. Where, in your opinion, is the most haunted place that you and Soul Sisters Paranormal has investigated?
I would say Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in Petros, Tennessee. We were able to deploy a lot of our equipment, and the evidence that we captured there was incredible to us, just unexplainable things that we were getting. Fort Mifflin in Philadelphia, another great location. We were able to capture shadow figures. We got a lot of EVPs, both male, female, and children. And we've been very fortunate in picking up activity almost every place that we've gone. And even if we didn't, our mindset is we're there for the historical aspect of these locations. So we would produce a video of our investigations, regardless if we got captured paranormal activity or not, because we do think the history needs to be highlighted, especially at some of these lesser known locations that we do visit. So with regard to the paranormal evidence, like I said, we have been fortunate in that respect. But those that I mentioned were probably the top on our list.
All right, Kristy, please stand by. You and I have to take our first break in Exonation. If you'd like to find out more about our guest this hour, Kristy Sumner, visit her website at www.soulsisterparanormal.com. And that's www.soulsisterparanormal.com. And Kristy and I will be back on the other side of this short break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, before we go to the break, just a reminder about some of the great shows we do have for you on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. We have Paranormal Stakeout with Larry Lawson. Connecting with Coincidence with Dr. Bernie Beitman. We have Too Good to Be True with Justina and Peter Marsh. Let me see, who else do we have here? Mission Evolution with Gwilda Wiyakta. Imagine More Success with Cindy Hendricks and Thomas Hides. And that's just a few of the great shows we have available for you 24/7, 365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Kristy Sumner and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions. offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome back, one and all. Dr. Kristy Sumner is our special guest. Her website is soulsistersparanormal.com. Kristy, what has been the most frightening paranormal investigation that you and the fine ladies of Soul Sisters Paranormal has investigated to this time, to this date, to this wherever we are in time?
Moment in time.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'd actually have to go back to Brushy Mountain on that one. Again, there was so much energy in that place. It was extremely intense. You could almost feel it when we walked into there.
Right.
And I would say Moundsville Penitentiary, or West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, was also one that was very heavy. And I think that's just the nature of the location. I mean, you've had thousands of people that were inmates there that had that oppression, that in life they were oppressed and they had that negative energy, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of what gives off that vibe in those type of locations. But once we actually get into an investigation, it becomes less frightening, if you will, and more about the science behind it, or the science as we approach it.
Sure.
The scientific research behind it. So, while we may have gotten poked or our hair pulled or doors slammed, we just consider that as part of the investigation.
Let's start with a very basic question that I'm sure that you get asked a lot, you and the members of Soul Sister Paranormal. What is a ghost? Have we been able to establish the true identity of what a ghost is?
I don't think that there is one answer to that, because it's going to vary as many people have opinions. The same way that religion varies. You don't have one answer as to which religious belief is going to be the end all be all ascension to heaven, if you will. And I think that's the same thing with ghosts. You kind of go into it with your own beliefs, and that's either confirmed or not confirmed by paranormal research. When we go into these, we all have a spiritual background. We do have a strong spiritual belief, all 5 members. But to us, the paranormal evidence that we found reinforces the fact that this is just the first chapter of our eternal story. There is something out there. There is something different. Can I explain it to you? No, because it's my own personal belief in that. I do think that what we've experienced, there are different ghosts, if you will, that are out there. We have come across some instances where I think it's residual, almost like a blip in time, or a blip on the record, if you will, of time. And it's just going to keep recycling that. An example of that is the Ma Barker house that we investigated. We believe that on one of the audio recorders, we do have a female voice saying, get ready, i.e. get ready for the shootout that's about to occur. And that's something that I think will happen in time, and it will keep happening. But then in other locations, we have, interaction with us. Like we had a child's voice come up to us and say, this is my bed. when we had a voice recorder sitting on a bed. So again, I think there's two different aspects, if you will, and it's something that people need to believe on their own.
Would you say that one's religious beliefs actually affect the outcome of the paranormal investigation?
I don't think it affects the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
For us, anyway. It reinforces for us what we already believe. So I think it's switched in what you said.
Right.
I think, like I said, for us, this is validating to us what we already believe. The spirits have been mentioned in the Bible and throughout different religions throughout time.
Sure.
And I think, like I said, what we've experienced gives you the sense that there is an afterlife. Mm-hmm. There is something after that. Do I know what that is? I don't, and I can't explain that to you. But I think that there is a reason that spirits stay behind. And to us, that gives us a level of comfort. And if that's the purpose of Soul Sisters Paranormal,
mm-hmm.
then that's what we're gonna go forth and conquer.
This brings up my next question, and you touched on it in your last in what you were saying. And first of all, I too am spiritual. I read the Bible, mm-hmm. and I believe that the Bible is the Rosetta Stone to the paranormal, because mm-hmm. if we can, the Bible is all about paranormal. Call it spirituality, whatever you want to call it, but mm-hmm. it deals with what you and I not only talk about but believe in, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe that using the knowledge that the ancients had, the book was written the way it was. Now, how it would be written if it had not been written up until today with all we know in science, math, physics, and so on, is a topic for another show. However, why do you think that some spirits stick around and others go to wherever spirits go? Let's call it heaven, for lack of better words, and a word that you and I can both associate with.
I do think, and obviously this phrase has been thrown around throughout paranormal investigation history, if you mm-hmm. will, there is some sort of unfinished business. And if I may relate a personal story, my granddaddy passed away in 1983, and my Nana, they were in love, they were very close, and that was her one true love. When right before she passed, I had a dream that my granddaddy came to me and said, I'm gonna be meeting your Nana soon. You're gonna be getting a call. A week after that, we got a call that my Nana was in an accident, and she never really recovered from that. No. When the day she died, my mm-hmm. sister and I actually went to the house, and we had some K2 meters, which are meters that measure electromagnetic energy. There was no power on in the house at the time. We went to the house, and I asked if Granddaddy was there, and our meters responded. I asked if my Nana was there, and the meters responded. And to me, that was validation that my Granddaddy was there, that my Nana met, and they moved on after that. Because when we went back a week later and asked the same exact questions, mm-hmm. everything was still. There was no blip on the meters. There was no sign to us that they were still there. So to answer your question, I do think that most of it is unfinished business. Either that, or they're afraid to ascend to the next level. Maybe fear of consequence of what's going to happen from when they were humans, mm-hmm. or living on this in this plane, if you will.
The fact that your K2 meters jumped, is it possible that, we've been taught by medical science that, we humans, emit electrical charges. The aura is an example. Is it mm-hmm. possible that because of the grief that you and your sister were having at the passing of your grandmother, that the K2 meter was actually jumped or spiked because of the emotions that you and your sister were emanating?
Well, Rob, I'll tell you, anything is possible. Yeah. I can't give you a definite answer.
Right.
But what I can say is, while we were standing there, before we started asking the specific questions mm-hmm. that we did, the meters were not responding.
Okay.
There was nothing happening. And so after, it was when we started asking those specific questions that the meters actually responded. So again, I'm not trying to convince anybody, and I don't tell that story to convince anybody. Yeah. I'm telling it to for me, it was a comfort knowing that my granddaddy was there,
right.
met my Nana, and then they ascended on. to whatever the afterlife is. We'll call it heaven, as you will. And so that, again, if that's my purpose as a soul sister investigator, then that's what I'm pleased with.
And in my book, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Well, thank you.
Let's talk about EVPs for a second. How does an EVP work? Like I've been in audio. I've taken audio engineering courses. And the concept of an audio that cannot be heard at the time of the recording but can be heard after the recording perplexes me.
Well, I'll tell you, there are instances where we have heard them in the moment.
Really?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. We've back to the Ma Barker house, as an example, there were several EVPs that we heard in the moment. I think a lot of the EVPs that we capture, they come when other people are talking, when we're moving around, especially, like I said, at Fort Mifflin, we caught some of these where we weren't expecting to hear it. So we weren't listening for it. And I think when you start to really listen, I mean, even if we were to go into, say, one of these locations, like say the Ma Barker house, for example, if we were just to sit there and ask questions and actually listen and wait for a response, we would hear it in the moment. I really do believe that. And we've had that happen. So the audio, picking it up on the audio is just validation of what we've heard, if you will. And so I do think that with regard to the energy that is in these locations, whispers or voices is probably the easiest thing with regard to energy manipulation that a spirit could do. I mean, I think it would take a lot more energy to manifest yourself as an apparition or to move an item. To me, that would take a lot more energy. Hence the reason EVPs are so popular among the paranormal community, because it is something that I think is used by spirits quite frequently.
All right, Kristy, stand by. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. And X Zone Nation, if you'd like to find out more about our guest this hour, her name is Kristy Sumner, and the name of the website is soulsistersparanormal.com. And Kristy and I will be back after this news break. But don't forget, X Zone Nation, the X Chronicles newspaper for May, June 2019 is available with our compliments at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern on the X Zone Broadcast Network, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Simul Radio, and, of course, many online and terrestrial radio stations as well. We'll be back talking more about Soul Sisters Paranormal. Well, don't go away.
How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hyde's life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
Welcome back, everyone. Dr. Kristy Sumner is our special guest. She is one of the founders of Soul Sisters Paranormal. They are in Ocala, Florida. And if you'd like to find out more about Kristy, or if you'd like to contact the Soul Sister Paranormal team, maybe you can use their services. Maybe they can help answer a few questions that you might have. Visit their website at soulsistersparanormal.com. Kristy, what is the criteria for you and your team to go in and actually do a paranormal investigation?
Well, the locations that we have visited so far, to us, have two factors. First is very historical. Mm-hmm. We want to highlight those places that actually have a history and a story that people may not really know about. And then also there's some type of reports of paranormal activity. So we do go in and really research where, what the historical aspects are of those things, so we can incorporate it into how we actually do our investigation. So for example, I'll refer back to the Mom Barker house. It was fascinating to us because we're from that location. We're fourth generation Ocala natives. And so we've always had a fascination with that house. And we were fortunate enough to get into that house as the first paranormal investigation team to investigate it. And so we really wanted to bring the history to the forefront. And then the paranormal on that house was secondary. We were very fortunate enough to get a lot of paranormal activity when we did our investigation. So it was actually a win-win for us. But back to your question, the criteria for us is something very historic, as well as reports of paranormal activity.
It seems that a lot of paranormal teams go to a lot of the same locations, and I'll just use the Waverly Sanitarium as an example. In your opinion, do the spirits ever get annoyed with the constant interruption or the constant interaction that they seem to be forced to do by paranormal teams?
Well, I think, probably like living human beings, you have spirits that have an off day. Some of the places that we have been more of the commercialized, if you will, locations. So, for example, West Virginia State Penitentiary or the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. But in those locations for us, we actually had interaction. It was like they wanted to speak to us. They wanted to interact with us. Have we had doors slammed in our faces? Yes, we have. So I think it's just going to be the night, for lack of a better term. You could go in and have no activity. You could go in and have a lot of activity. So whether or not they get annoyed, it's as varied as the humans that are going into the location.
What have you learned with the interaction with the other side? Do we know what the other side is like? Do we know what it feels like to die? Do we know what it is to, the process of death? Have we been able to learn that from the communications with the other side?
Personally, we have not gotten that specific of a response. From what I feel, some of the responses that we have, the interaction is that we have gotten is that the apparitions want to stay. The spirits are happy with where they're at. And the example that comes to my mind is back to the West Virginia State Penitentiary. There is an apparition known to exist there named Red. And in my mind, he was just so happy where he was. He kind of, ruled the roost there at Moundsville, that he wants to stay. He likes interacting with the guests that come. And again, maybe he's afraid of what his punishment will be or what he'll face in the afterlife, that he wants to stay. So to your question, I personally, our team have not, been revealed. It has not been revealed to us what the afterlife looks like or how that works. We just know what's going on here in this plane.
So how do you deal with skepticism? Those who do not believe, but believe that paranormal investigations are nothing else but hoaxes, fakes.
Yes, we get that question a lot. And our answer is we're not trying to indoctrinate you with any type of, paranormal beliefs. We are going in there for our own research purposes, and we are getting evidence that we cannot explain. So, for example, when we have a child's voice speaking, and I absolutely know that there are no children anywhere on the property, I can't explain that. That's an energy field that I cannot explain. So we're not trying to convince anybody of our findings. We're putting it out there and letting people use their own interpretations of what we found. I guess it's the same thing as religion. I'm not going to try to enforce my religious beliefs on anybody. It's up to people to come up with their own ideas and beliefs. And I think that's the same way with what we're doing here. We're telling you that we're doing this from a very research-based, scientific-based approach. This is what we've got that we cannot explain. This is what we think is happening, but we're not going to try to convince you of it. That's something for you to form your own opinion about.
Do you and the other members of Soul Sisters Paranormal work or collaborate with other paranormal teams?
We do. That's something that we started this year. We've been very fortunate. We've had 2 very good collaborations with Miranda Young from Ghost Biker Exploration.
Yeah, I was just talking to her last night.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you were. And it's fantastic because she has a very unique style that we really appreciate. And she's had some fascinating results. And so, we kind of approached each other and said, let's collaborate on a couple of things. You with your style, us with ours, and see what we can come up with. So we've been very honored to collaborate with her because she is very well known in the paranormal community. So yes, we have collaborated. We do have some other collaborations that are coming up this year and throughout next year as well. So, and I think that's something that's necessary in the paranormal community, simply because there's not one scheme, if you will, that is the actual scheme. You learn from every paranormal group that is out there. You learn what to do and you learn what not to do. Right. And you learn different techniques, which is very refreshing.
Well, this is something we've also learned in the criminal justice community, is that you share information. For example, NCIC, the database up here in Canada, it's called CPIC, and where the information from law enforcement agencies across Canada is collected, and law enforcement agencies can share the information and gather intelligence and information in order to make their case. And of course, CPIC communicates with NCIC. So, here you've got international, and then our computer systems work with the European computer systems, and there you have Interpol. So it's nice to see teams starting to collaborate together, share the information in order to come up with a conclusion.
Absolutely. It definitely, strengthens the paranormal knowledge that's out there. And, the interesting thing is, and back to your law enforcement example, when you investigate a car crash, you're going to investigate that one car crash. You're not going to have the exact same car crash again. That is the one moment in time. And it's like us, when, I'll go to the Ma Barker house and I will come up with my evidence, and somebody else will go to the Ma Barker house and they'll get different evidence. It won't be the same. So when you see these groups that, maybe go in with the mindset that their way or technique is the best, it's kind of disheartening a little bit, because it's going to be different for every group that goes in. You're not going to get the same night after night after night.
And I would imagine it depends on the attitude the group takes with the location where they are and how they, in fact, respect or treat the spirits.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And that's one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on. As you mentioned, we all are female. Right. And, we don't do any of the provoking. We don't use Ouija boards or try to conjure. And I'm not disparaging against those teams that do. Don't get me wrong. That's just not our style. We try to go in with some empathy, especially locations where we know that there's been women or children. We try to go in with empathy and actually try to get their story. because that's really what we're trying to do. Is we want to get the story so we can again expand that knowledge base of these locations and just enrich the history of the locations.
How do you protect yourself when you go into a location where there might be some negative energy that you might trigger? How do you and your team protect yourself?
We do have a prayer protection that we say before we go in, and then we have a prayer protection that we say when we go out. And it's also back to your mindset example. We have the mindset that we're not going in looking for negative. I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist. That would be disingenuous to say, I believe in the paranormal, but not in demons or negative spirits. So I'm not going to say that they don't exist, but it's not something that we go in and actually search for. We don't try to find that negative. And we approach it as when we communicate with the spirits, we tell them we're not here to provoke you. We're not here to upset you in any way. We're here to tell your story. And, I think like humans, we want people to hear us. We want to be heard. That's one of the facets of being a human, is you want people to understand you. And I think that's kind of the same way. If you take the approach that we do, I think it's the same way with spirits. They want to be heard. They want their story told. And that's kind of how we approach it.
Kristy, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about Kristy and the Soul Sisters Paranormal, visit their website at www.soulsistersparanormal.com. And Kristy and I will be back on the other side of this break as we wrap up this segment of the X-Zone. And don't forget, the X-Zone is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we're heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern right here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, as well as on the Talkstar Radio Broadcast Network. We'll be back. Don't go away.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
Christopher Fulton is a survivor of the national security state. All he wanted to do was preserve history when he acquired a Cartier watch from the estate of President Kennedy's personal secretary. But that simple act set off a terrible chain reaction. He was pursued by the U.S. Justice Department and the FBI, thrust into the middle of the U.S. government's Assassination Records Review Board, even monitored and pursued by the Russian government. All because that Cartier watch was the missing link of evidence, a timepiece worn by JFK that fateful day in Dallas, a link resulting in Christopher being incarcerated and attacked for 9 years because he opened a hidden chapter in history. The intriguing journey outlined fully in Christopher Fulton's memoir, The Inheritance, is available now through TrineDay.com or Amazon.com. The Inheritance, Poisoned Fruit of JFK's Assassination by Christopher and Michelle Fulton is a must-read, an incredible tale of how easily our own government can overrule justice. The Inheritance, Poisoned Fruit of JFK's Assassination.
Explanation. Kristy Sumner is our guest this hour. She is the co-founder of Soul Sisters Paranormal. They're an investigation team in Ocala in Florida. And if you'd like more information about Soul Sisters Paranormal, visit their website at soulsistersparanormal.com. Kristy, why do so many... And you know what? I really appreciate the fact that you don't want to talk about other groups. Having said that, why is it some groups go in and anything that happens, it's evil, it's demonic?
I think it plays to a sense of sensationalism. Mm-hmm. There are those groups that their main goal is to go out and, become the next television star. Right. And that's fine. People are entitled to whatever motivates them. Absolutely. And so I do think there's that sense of sensationalism. If you just go into locations and, all you get is positive results or positive experiences, mm-hmm. if you will, it may not play so well to audiences. For us, we again, don't go in with that type of bravado. And if something happens, we're not going to run out screaming. We're going into these locations knowing that there's paranormal activity. And so we expect that. Again, I think that maybe the fact that the shows that have been successful on TV do have that sense of suspense and more toward the negative, if you will. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why some groups are copying that model.
Yeah. So having said that, the television shows that use the sensationalistic aspect when investigating the paranormal. Are they an asset or are they a hindrance to the paranormal community?
I personally, I do think that they are a hindrance, mm-hmm. Because that's not really what the majority of the paranormal community is about. We go in trying to expand the knowledge base and the research base of paranormal investigations. All the groups that I have met and the people that I've worked with, that's very much their goal. But again, some people I think need to stand out, and they feel that going negative or going sensationalism, that's the way to do it. We kind of take a different approach. To us, it's twofold. You highlight the history, mm-hmm. you highlight the paranormal activity if you can find it, and then you relay that to the world via your videos or your YouTube channel or Facebook.
Based on your experience, how would you best suggest someone listening tonight to you? You have inspired them to become a paranormal investigator. How should they proceed? What should their steps be?
Well, kind of the steps that we followed was the best thing to do is actually you're going to have to find one of those locations, mm-hmm. be it a commercial location, a larger commercial location, again, such as Fort Mifflin or Moundsville Penitentiary, whatever, and go to that location and see if you like it, if you can have the wherewithal to stay in one of those locations overnight. It doesn't take a lot of equipment, a voice recorder, a digital camera, maybe some type of video camera or GoPro. But you really have to go in first to see if this is something that you want to really be involved in for the right reasons, or if you just want to go in and try to get yourself scared. Because if it's the latter, we really don't need you, for lack of a better term, in the paranormal community. So if you want to just go to be scared, that's one thing. But if you actually want to go in and become a true paranormal investigator, I think you need to follow those steps and then have respect for the location, have respect for what has happened in these locations. So, for example, if you go to Fort Mifflin, know that that's a Revolutionary War fort. It's been there since the Revolutionary War, and you need to respect the location and the possible paranormal entities that are still there.
Yeah. Just like to go back to your EVP experience. In your opinion, is a digital recorder better than an analog, or an analog better than a digital?
We use digital recorders,
yes,
and that's just what we like. That's what we found gives us the best paranormal evidence. So that's what we use, and that's what we've been happy with. But again, other groups they have their own way and their own methods of doing it.
So what's in the future for Soul Sisters Paranormal?
Well, we're very excited about this upcoming year. We've got several really cool investigations. Again, we're collaborating with Ghost Biker on a couple of things. And again, very honored to collaborate with her.
She's cool.
And then we've got, we're going to Lizzie Borden this year, which we've been very excited. That's been on our bucket list. And we're going back to Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary as well. I've already mentioned that, but that's one place that we really want to really delve into more to see if we can get some more paranormal activity. And basically just we're having fun with it, and that's what we really like to do. So this year is very exciting for us, and if something comes out of this in the future, that's great. But right now, the highlighting of the history aspect of this and adding to the knowledge base, the paranormal knowledge base, is really what we're looking for.
Kristy, what do you know now that you didn't know when you started Soul Sisters Paranormal?
How addictive buying equipment can be. I've got to tell you, it's you why have 2 night vision cameras when you can have 21? So, but once you do that, the drawback is you've got to watch footage from 21 cameras.
Right.
So that is the major drawback that we've learned. So sometimes less is more. But we've also learned that this is a great community. The term that's been floating around lately is para-unity. And I have to subscribe to that. I really do. I do think that if you're in it for the right reasons and you're in this for the expansion of the knowledge base,
right,
it's a great community to be involved in.
What happens when the answer is found? What happens to para-unity? What happens to all the paranormal investigators?
Well, I hope that we would continue to delve into that answer, to kind of see if the veil is opened, if you will, to see clearer into that veil. Do I think it'll happen in my lifetime? Probably not. But I don't think that there's going to be an eye-opening experience. Right. I think there's always going to be a need for paranormal investigators. Again, just even if it's to give somebody a comfort that what's coming next isn't so scary. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe that's the purpose. And that's, to me, is fulfilling.
Why, in your opinion, doesn't the scientific community get more involved with the paranormal?
I think because it is something that really you can't get a group of people to really get behind one theory.
Right.
For example, in religion, you've got your Catholics, your Baptists, your Methodists, and you've got a large subset of the population that subscribes to one of those.
Right.
There really isn't that in the paranormal community. We all have our different theories, but we're not really, based on our evidence, it changes, it fluctuates somewhat. So for lack of a better term, I can be a Baptist today, but then it's going to switch and I'm a Catholic based on what I found.
Right.
So I think that's probably one of the reasons. And it's just, it's scary. Mm-hmm. Thinking about death, it's not a pleasant experience for most people. So it's just, I think it's one of those aspects where it is a fear of the unknown still.
Yeah, life is funny because the moment we're conceived is the moment we start to die.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is.
Kristy, what are your final thoughts for the listening audience of the X Zone Nation tonight?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate that.
It's my great pleasure.
for highlighting the team. Thank you very much for that. And again, just if you want to get into the paranormal investigation side, just go in with it with the right mindset. That's the words of wisdom I can impart, and just have fun with it.
One quick question. Ouija boards. Why should people stay away from them?
We stay away from them because we really don't want to invite that negativity.
Right.
We feel that there's different ways to communicate. Again, I'm not going to disparage teams that use them. They use them with success, and that's great for them. It's just not something that we do. We don't really go in focusing on anything negative.
Kristy, as always, when I'm interested in talking to a person who knows what they're talking about, the time flies by so fast. But I'd like you to do something for me if you could. Mm-hmm. When you and your team, along with Miranda, go out and do these investigations, keep us in mind and let us know what's going on. We'd love to have both you and Miranda back on the show, get you on together to discuss the way that you do what you do and how you do it, because I like I said at the beginning of the show, I find it totally refreshing. So thank you so much for doing the great work that you do. And please give my best to the rest of your team.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it.
All right. Exo Nation, our guest this hour has been Dr. Kristy Sumner. And if you'd like to find out more about Kristy, she is one of the co-founders of Soul Sisters Paranormal. They're in Ocala, Florida. Visit www.soulsistersparanormal.com. That's www.soulsistersparanormal.com. It's so refreshing to talk to two young ladies who are dedicated yet operate with a high degree of professionalism and intelligence. And their, the education that they have certainly is very prevalent in the manner and method that they conduct not only themselves, but their investigation. So hats off to them. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And listen, if you'd like to send us your comments, hey, listen, I'm a big boy. X Zone at xzoneradiotv.com. Good, bad, or indifferent. I love getting your comments because it gives us a better idea of what you, the X Zone Nation, really want to hear and how you really feel. I'll be back. Don't go away. If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie, natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide. They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now to receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.